Belarus, Lithuania, Palestine, South Africa, Australia and England. They were almost all migratory, moving their home, sense of place and identity, wayfarers on a continual journey. Leaving behind their known culture and environment, they travelled by ship to England and onwards to South Africa. When our great-grandfather, Wolf Beinart, arrived in South Africa, he set up a general store in Malmesbury and became a salt merchant, trading salt that he had harvested from the salt pans on the Berg River.
I am sitting in the Botanic Gardens in Oxford, leaves strewn everywhere and the tower lit golden by the sun. It's strange to imagine that centuries ago this was the Jewish burial ground. Your writing reminded me of standing in the Jewish graveyard in Malmesbury, a hot, dusty, half-empty space with our name everywhere. Our family's remains are so spread out, some we can find and others not. Is this one of the traces of migration?
I visited Rebecca in Lithuania, the birthplace of Wolf Beinart. I felt strangely disappointed. This place of my imagination has now become real and unremarkable. My first view was of Soviet-era flats in a big factory. But in the centre, I found old wooden buildings and dirt roads, and I could just about imagine it 100 years ago. I wished I had more information, something to tell me which house or road or piece of land was significant. A place to touch.
Edith Perlman. When people migrate, they face difficult choices. One is whether to assimilate themselves culturally or to risk isolation and persecution by holding on to the culture of the place they have left behind. Despite the diasporic nature of Jewish people, we connect culture and identity so strongly with particular places.
Grandad Michael spoke little about his childhood in the East End. I wonder what fragments of his parents' backgrounds stayed with him as habits or characteristics. He would often make beetroot soup, which was based on the traditional Jewish borscht, but he had his own recipe. Do you think we can taste history?
Around these are cinnamon balls. These are
right.
traditional, well, a family recipe that we found in one of our
Cinnamon
family
balls,
recipes.
okay, right.
Yeah.
Do you dip them in the vodka or?
I don't think
I
so.
don't like it.
Yeah.
So what we'd like to do is just go around and everybody to tell us something about one of their... It doesn't have to be a very distant ancestor.
I can tell you about my granny Sawyer, who was about 4 feet tall and probably almost as wide, and was one of the first in the just after the First World War, was one of the first women welders of Birmingham. And she was a welding foreman and terrified all these big butch men that worked for her, and was, a bit of a heroine of mine.
Wow, that's so sad.
Yeah.
Granny Sawyer. Elizabeth.
I would like to taste Rebecca Beinart, who was, what was her name before that?
Gittel
Apter, who was our great-grandmother, who came from Lithuania or maybe Latvia, we're not quite sure, to join her husband Wolf in South Africa, in Malmesbury. And there seems to be a lot more information about the male side of the family than the female side of the family on that side. But she had an enormous family. She had 8 or 9 children, and in this completely strange landscape where they settled and started to build a very different life. So I'd like to taste Gittel.
I think we've got everything as we found.
Oh, we've done. Yes, we've done.
Just put everything in the dishwasher. Is that okay?
Fine, that's fine. Yes, yes.
Would you like a drink or a cup of coffee or something before we go?
Oh, I think we're fine, yeah.
Oh, sure.
Oh, full of vodka.
Very, very well.
He's got the other pot.
Bye.
Hey, round of applause.